Okay, all right. Hi, my name is Kathy Schwabel. I'm part of the Hamilton Conservation Corps. We work with the natural areas here in the city of Hamilton. I'm going to talk to you about butterflies, moths, and skippers, all right? So they all fly around, and most of them are pretty, and a lot of people don't know that there's even a difference. So we're going to go over what those differences are. Most, keep in mind, it says most, not all. Most butterflies fly during the day, and most moths fly at night. Butterflies are normally more colorful than moths. They attract mates with their color, and they sleep at night. That's not always true. The giant moths are absolutely stunning, and I have seen them out during the day. So night flying moths, they attract their moths by smell, or their mates by smell. Their colors normally camouflage them during the daylight, during their resting times. Most butterflies have club antennae, and most moths have feather-like antennae. The male moth antennae can be more elaborate than the females. They have an increased surface area, allowing them to pick up the scents or the female pheromones whenever they're looking for their mates. Male butterflies rely less on scent and more on vision to search for their mates. Moths have thicker coatings than butterflies. Sometimes whenever you touch them, you'll actually get almost like a little bit of powder that comes off onto your hands. Moths fly at night, and they don't have the sun to warm them while they're flying, so that's why they have those thicker scales. They also generate heat internally by vibrating their muscles, and the heavy scales insulate them against their heat loss. Especially this time of year, it gets kind of cool outside at night, so whenever they're out there, they need to be able to hold that heat in. Some day-flying moths can easily be mistaken by butterflies, but those moths are relatively low here in Ohio. What the heck is a skipper? Well, a skipper is actually defined as a butterfly. It's kind of a morph between a butterfly and a moth. It's got a few qualities from butterflies. It's got a few qualities from moths, but genetically it is considered to be a butterfly. The head and the small stout body of the adult tend to resemble those of a moth. They have a thicker body than a butterfly does. But whenever they're sitting at rest, the skipper's wings are vertical like a butterfly's. And whenever a moth sits, they sit flat, and where they're sitting, their wings would be considered horizontal. Their antennae are clubbed like butterflies. They don't have the feathers on them, except they end up ending in a slender hooked tip. Their pupation occurs in cocoons of silk or silken leaves. So skippers do not make a chrysalis. Chrysalis versus a cocoon. Butterflies and moths both go through stages of metamorphosis. Many moths make cocoons instead of chrysalises, and butterflies do not make cocoons. They always make a chrysalis. Moths form cocoons by actually spinning a silken house around themselves, and then the moth caterpillar molts for the last time, and it becomes a pupa inside of that cocoon. Butterflies make their chrysalis out of their own bodies, so that whenever you see the butterfly or the caterpillar start to go into that J hook, their body actually starts to make that chrysalis. And whenever that chrysalis is finished, that chrysalis is the pupa. It's not a pupa inside of something. That chrysalis is actually the pupa. At some point in time, that butterfly actually becomes a gelatinous mess to reform into a butterfly. Some moths, instead of building cocoons, they actually will pupate underground or under leaves. That brings up the subject of right now is the time where we're going out and cleaning up our flower beds and we're raking up all the leaves, and we really don't want to do that. leave your flower beds alone if you can until spring. Lots of times, not only do you have moths pupating under those leaves and under that ground, but you've also got a myriad of other insects and bugs and stuff that are down there that are living under those leaves. So try to leave the leaves. Also, your hollow plant stems, you have bees that go down into those plant stems. So there's lots of eggs and stuff in those plant stems. So try to leave your beds alone. I think that earlier this year, I don't know if some of you were here for that presentation of putting your beds to bed. So now is that time where you're going to be looking into that. You're going to go, oh, I need to like clear cut all this and get it all cleaned up. Please try to wait until spring because you're going to decimate a lot of eggs and pupa that are under there. And that's about all I have. Mr. Schwagel now is going to talk about the host plants for the caterpillars that come out of those chrysalis.
Good evening, everyone. So all the time that we talk about host plants, a lot of times we talk about host plants and we think about butterflies. And it's important to keep in mind that there are actually 4 stages of life for butterflies. They start out as eggs, then they go to caterpillars, and then they go to the pupa. Those 3 are the ones that define what caterpillars need, i.e. the host plants for caterpillars. Now, there's a couple pictures here in front of you that I challenge you to find any butterflies or bees, because this is a perfect garden at an arboretum that was made specifically for the splendor of the flowers. It was not intended to attract anything, and it does not. It is the most barren flower location I have ever seen in my entire life. Beautiful, absolutely strikingly beautiful, and that's what people tend to think of when they think, hey, I'm gonna build a pollinator garden. I'm gonna build a garden to attract butterflies and bees. Well, all these pictures are great, and this is how they start out with. They start out in beds. That's not exactly what a caterpillar needs. So the caterpillar and the egg and the pupa need specific plants. So what we're going to do is we're going to utilize Ohio Department of Natural Resources guide on butterflies and skippers. So we're absolutely going to go straight from the pages. The first 2 are skippers. We're gonna just quickly go over, and I'm going over the host plants, and I've kind of done a little trick on all of you. When people think of host plants, they think of leafy green things on the ground. I'm actually going to get everybody to think about there's more than just milkweed. There's more than just aster flowers. There are lots of things. And all of these that we're going to show you today are trees. So now this little guy, the dreamy duskywing, if you look at his antenna, like Kathy said, there's a hook at the end. This guy is a skipper. And he likes willows, poplars, and oaks here in Ohio. So, like I said, trees. And the next little guy here, also a skipper. And you can see his antenna have a really pronounced hook to him, the silver spotted skipper. And you can actually even see what the caterpillar looks like and about how big he is. This one's in every county save one, according to the map. The poor county's left out. But you can see that it says pea family, or black locust, honey locust, and hog peanut trees are all bushes are all what this guy likes. So, and now we'll just move real quickly on into a butterfly, Henry's Elfin. This one's only documented in Ohio on redbud and maple leaf viburnum, although hackberry and or huckleberry and various bluebird plants are probably also used. But if you've got a redbud anywhere around, you got a good chance of seeing this guy. I like to think of the zebra swallowtail as Ohio's true butterfly, because its only host plant in Ohio is a pawpaw, which is Ohio's native fruit. So wherever you find pawpaws, you should find zebra swallowtails. If you can't find any pawpaws, there's going to be no zebra swallowtails around. The giant swallowtail, really a striking butterfly, very, very large. And they also like an odd, what we would consider an odd thing. They like the citrus family, and there's only 2 species in Ohio, the wafer ash and prickly ash. As you can tell by the map, they're not widely abundant. And unlike the zebra swallowtail, only where you find those trees are you going to find these butterflies. Most of these up to now have been kind of single butterfly to a particular group of trees. The next one, I'm going to show you 4 butterflies in a row that they all have a very similar grouping of trees that they like. This is the spice bush swallowtail. The spice bush, as a lot of people know, smells like tincture. It's very odoriferous. So if you break the leaf and rub it, you can smell it immediately. It also likes sassafras, which brings us to the eastern tiger swallowtail, which likes ash, sassafras, the tulip tree, and black cherry. And then the coral hairstreak is black cherry and American plum. And the spring azure and summer azure like black cherry and dogwood. So you kind of get an idea that you'll have crossovers where you might have a tree that'll have a couple of different caterpillars on it. And that's kind of what you want to look for when you're trying to plan out an area that you want to have as to be host plants for certain caterpillars that you want those butterflies later on. So then we'll move on to another one that's also a black cherry, poplar and aspen though, and that's the red spotted purple, which is neither purple nor spots, but hey, we didn't make these names up. And then the next group have a lot in common. The viceroy is the mimic of the monarch, and it likes pussy willows, black willows, and sandbar willows. And they also like cottonwood, which down around here in Butler County, especially along the Mourning River, we got a lot of cottonwood. So guess what we have a lot of? We got a lot of viceroys. And then the mourning cloak also likes black willow, Siberian elm, and the American elm, but it's also going to use cottonwood. We do have mourning cloak around here as well. And then the eastern comma, again, is it likes nettles, several species of the nettles. It also likes elms and hops. So I would think that if you were into making your own brew at home, this would be your what do you call it? Your mascot butterfly, the eastern comma. And then this guy is, he needs to be starred in a movie. This is Ohio, or this is what we found right now. This is our only carnivorous butterfly. They don't particularly host on a tree or a plant. They eat woolly aphids. So the woolly aphids are hosted by alder, winterberry, and American beech. So if you have those three plants and they are infested with woolly aphids, then you should have harvester butterflies, or more specifically, harvester caterpillars. They're what's going to eat that. So if we got any movie producers listening, this would be a great horror movie, because look at that guy's wings. I mean, is that not a death mask there on his upper wing? And then moving on to our next to last group, these are oak. These are hard tree butterflies. Edward's HAIRSTREAK, likes young oaks, principally black, probably post oak and some other oak species. And then the banded HAIRSTREAK likes white oak and hickories, as well as black walnut. So those are some hardwood butterflies that we should have in abundance in Ohio. And then we get into our most unusual looking guy, American snout. And he likes hackberry, which Lord knows in Butler County, we've got enough hackberry. So if you lived anywhere down in southwestern Ohio, you should be able to find this guy somewhere around where you're at. Next is the question mark, also likes hackberry, stinging nettle, Siberian elm, red elm, and American elm. Some of these butterflies, they have a pretty wide taste in host plants, so their caterpillars can live in whatever is substantially safe for them to live in. And then the hackberry emperor, he only likes hackberry, or so it says in the book. We have this guy around, we see him all the time. And then last but not least, little cousin there is the tawny emperor. Also a host plant is only the hackberry. So there you have it, trees instead of weeds or flowers for host plants, to try to give you an idea that there is quite a bit of research that needs to go into working on hosting caterpillars and butterflies. There's approximately 17,500 species of butterflies worldwide. There's 750 of them in the United States. Ohio, if you look at different places, some say we have 50, some say we have 80. I think those guys fly wherever they want, and if you've got what they like, you'll see them again the next year. Now, thank goodness we don't live in Peru. They have the most in the world, 3,700 species, not really well documented. There's speculation that they have more than 4,200. The whole big thing about it is, if you want to attract butterflies, if you want to attract bees, if you want to see their caterpillars, which some of the caterpillars are incredibly striking compared to what the butterflies look like, you have to have biomes. You have to have all the things that they need to eat, all the things that they need to nest and change from a caterpillar into a butterfly. And then as soon as they come out, they have got to have some type of plant available for nectaring. Whether it's a moth you're looking for, a skipper, a butterfly, they're all going to start as caterpillars. They need to have something as a host plant to live on. And then once they go into their metamorphosis and they come out, they need to have nectar to live on to start that process all over. These are the books that we use to get the information that we have. And I think Lynn will make sure that this gets posted up for everybody.